Let's welcome to stage Flash himself, Sam Jones!
Come on, let's hear it for Tony.
Yeah.
Tony, come on, yeah. All right.
Well, they're not.
So you can move it here if you want.
They're not here to see me.
We get nice and cozy if you want to move over here, you know. That way, well, you know, there'll be more chairs for other people.
That's right.
No, it's fine.
Sam, how are you?
Well, we're good. We just got back from Saudi Arabia.
That's right. There was a con in Saudi Arabia. Had you been there before? What's
No.
Yeah.
Here, I've got my sexy voice today. I actually have a bit of laryngitis, but I kind of like how that sounds. Otherwise, I start straining like that. So, yeah, no, it was wonderful.
I mean, you guys were literally just like last weekend or so, right?
Yeah, I just got back Monday.
Yeah.
A lot of people from Wizard World were there.
Yeah.
You were not there,
I
Tony.
was not
Why
there.
were you not there?
Unfortunately, I could not make it out this time, but next time, for sure, I'm going to make it.
You understood the significance of Saudi Arabia, right?
Tell me.
Well, here's the deal. The name of the Comic-Con was the Wizard World organized with the organizers in Saudi Arabia. So the king of Saudi Arabia, I guess his son, the crown prince, said to him a year or two ago, he said, Dad, I'm sure he called him Dad, but he said, Dad, we have 38 million people in Saudi Arabia. That's our population. 50% of the population is 25 years old and under. So I'm sure the son said, Dad, if we don't open up some Western pop culture and entertainment, we're going to have some issues. And sure enough, so the king decided, well, back then, that they created a season, an event, a big event called Riyadh Season Imagine. We're talking about 105 events. One was the Stan Lee Saudi Supercon. So one event over a 3-month period. And what he basically said was, he invited some select countries, America and a few others. He said, come over here, bring your Western pop culture and entertainment, and we will share our people, our culture, and our economy. And it's huge. They spent, and I'm not making this up, Tony, billions and billions and billions and more billions. Why do I know that? Because one event in particular, they brought a guy from America who did who's been to Vegas to the Bellagio, to the dancing fountains, okay? That project alone in Saudi Arabia, the guy that designed and built it, $500 million, $500 million for the one project. So we're talking 105.
They sent him there. He set one up just for the.
Well, yeah, I met Rick Light. He's the CEO of Marvel, the Marvel attraction that travels the world. So some of these events were set up temporarily, like the Comic-Con, and some are going to be there permanent as a fixture. So it was not just an inaugural of a Comic-Con, but of a nation.
Yeah.
Really amazing. Yeah. And the people were. It's not what you think. We always thought Saudi Arabia, but people were wonderful. The majority spoke English. Incredible. I mean, and you could see the yearning desire in them. They've been waiting for this. Remember, their first movie that they just saw ever, okay, in the public, the public society is Black Panther. Before that, they didn't have movie theaters.
Wow.
Anyway, it's a big deal.
So what was their? They have a lot of catching up to do. So what was their familiarity with Flash Gordon?
Well, I mean, it was a bit. I don't want to say they had black market DVDs, but I'm sure it wasn't accepted. You could not do it in public. You couldn't go to a movie theater. So a lot of these entertainment came by way of DVDs, and back then VHSs. So now here we are, Lou Ferrigno, Steven Seagal, myself. Oh my gosh, tons. I think 50 artists. Of course, I'm leaving out a lot of names because, but it covered all age demographics. My age, the old guys. Well, Lou's a little bit older than me. And then, the 40-year-old actors, and then all the teenagers. But it was wonderful to see, and every citizen of Saudi Arabia, they kept saying, "Thank you so much for coming to our country. Thank you for making this happen. Thank you for being a part of history." That's incredible.
Did you get a chance to, see a little bit of that
Well,
country, or is it just all?
If I take my family, yes, I do that at Comic Cons. But, you depart LA on a Monday, you arrive late Tuesday night. Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, so you arrive, basically, you wake up Wednesday morning early, you're there. But coming back is easier because, check this out, the time thing. You depart Saudi Arabia, you arrive in Los Angeles 6 hours later, and it's a 16-hour flight. So you got to do the math on that, right? So you're gaining time on the way back. But we did get to go. Bob Lee, the artist, right? Great guy.
Yeah.
He said, "Sam, before we go, you and I need to go to the U.S. military base." And I said, "Bob, brilliant. We can go do not a USO show, but a USO appearance at this one particular military base that every branch, Navy, Marines, Army, Air Force." And it was incredible how they welcomed us. We sat there at a table, standing up, taking pictures. I brought a big stack of my pictures. Bob brought a big stack of art. And we had a whole box of the programs of the Comic-Con, which looked like a Stan Lee comic book, Anyway, it was incredible.
Oh, that's awesome. Very awesome. I hope you get a chance to go back. I know that it sounded like from the Wizard crew that they enjoyed it and wanted.
Yeah, and also they had another dynamic, Tony. Dubai opened up years ago,
yeah.
huge, Dubai. So Saudi Arabia was, Dubai is kind of, it's the place to be in the Middle East. So I think they're doing that as well, the catch up. But Saudi Arabia is not just catching up. They're doing innovative stuff. It was the most unique people, fans of course, but some of the people that came to my table, for instance, one guy, he's in charge of the metro rail for all of Saudi Arabia, the metro. So just in Riyadh, the city. I said, "Well, how much track have you built?" He said, 160 kilometers monorail, right? He said, "Sam, but here's the significance. It's the very first of its kind in the world. It's driverless, no supervision, passengers only, no drivers. First, so kind of like a robot, a robotic train." So they're really innovating. Yeah.
It's awesome.
I sound like the ambassador for
I know.
come to Saudi Arabia. No, it really is. It's not. I was under the. We all have our impression, our first impression, but the people are wonderful. Yeah.
Well, that's what's so awesome about cons is that we're all different in many ways, and different religious beliefs, different whatever culture. But it's pretty amazing how cons bring people together. I mean, because fans are fans, the same all around the world, and it really does, put people on common ground.
Sure.
Because people love
Yeah,
all things possible.
and the culture is easy to figure out. They have guidelines. There's two things in particular. You don't take pictures of people without their permission, especially the women, because some of them wear the burqas, some not so much. And you never, for a man, you never extend your hand to a woman to shake. You let her extend her hand to you. That's a respectful cultural thing. So, we did that. And, I found myself in the beginning forgetting about it.
Hard, yeah.
Because, you say hi to the husband, now you go say hi to the wife. But then I found myself saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry." She said, "What? I'm not supposed to do that." She said, No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. But no, you just, and again, you could, I do a lot of cons, and you really know, you have a great discernment for sincerity and gratefulness. And the people there were so sincere and so grateful. And to see, they've been waiting for us for a long time. It's great.
Is there a place around the world that you would love to do another con at?
Well, next year, because of that, I believe it's open. Well, I've done Dubai before, but they're talking about next year going back to Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, and then of course doing Dubai again. So yeah, and then next year, next year's our big year, Tony. Thanks for asking, guys. It's our 40th anniversary Flash Gordon Reunion World Tour, and yours truly has actually organized it. So I got a couple cast members.
Yeah,
Well, I got. Excuse me. I got Brian Blessed, Prince Baltan. Yeah, Gordon's alive, and Melody Anderson, Dillard. Excuse me.
Yeah.
That's the convention voice from, talking loud over loud music. And, air conditioner, 16 hours flight each way, so. But, Moscow is we're reaching out right now to Russia, China, which is already open. And, some of the Baltic nations, like Czechoslovakia, and Poland, and I went to Bulgaria this year too, so.
And is the plan to take the crew and basically just do a world tour? How many?
Yeah.
Do you know how many cities?
Well, Brian and Melody and I were on board for, I told them, last year I booked 40 events for me. So they said, we'll do 40.
Wow.
So I've simplified it, it's not. So the challenge we have is, dynamic, is being booked at an existing fixed scheduled Comic-Con already, right? But see, if we're in Europe, we want to do, 2 or 3 cities back to back. Let's go to Berlin, okay? Let's go to London the next weekend in sequential order, and then the next weekend we go to Czechoslovakia. It's all relatively nearby. So now we're going to start doing some what we call pop-up events or private signings as well. But they're for it, and we're excited about it. But yeah, I think I've never been to China. I've been all over Asia. I did a movie in Taiwan, Thailand, Indonesia. I opened my movie in Japan, Flash Gordon, 40 years ago. But I think Russia.
Are there certain
China.
Are there certain regions of the world that are where Flash Gordon was more, I don't know, like more recently produced or more popular than others?
I think it did much more popular in Europe and in the UK. Oh yeah, Germany. Yeah, but Europe all
That
over
long
Europe.
flowing blonde hair.
Yeah, but also the Highwayman was huge in that I did
Yeah.
over there. But it's just great to travel the world. It really is.
Well, 40 years. I mean, pretty tremendous when you think about. In 40 years, while there's been so many different movies, sci-fi shows, so much has come out in that genre. Nothing's quite been like Flash Gordon.
Come on, let's hear it, baby. Yes. Come on, Flash Gordon.
And
If you ask me, Tony, how would you describe it? I would literally say, yes, it's camp, it's funny, it's corny, but visually it's a masterpiece. Come on. I mean, visually. I look at my table sometimes, my pictures and posters on my table out there, and I go, my gosh, look at that rich color. It's rich, it's full, it's colorful, it's vibrant. Well, that's the costumes that were made, Anyway.
so that's what I want to ask was what is it to you that after 40 years that has allowed it to really endure? Because it really is this very unique thing, especially in the age of CGI where everything is so crazy and whatever. The fact that we have something that's it's so charming, it's so creative, it's so passionate. But what is it to you that makes it sort of endure over 40 years? What's
Well, I call it the triple blessing, right? I think I said before. First blessing is getting hired in the business, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. First blessing, getting hired for a job, a movie job, TV job. Second blessing, if it does well at the box office or television ratings. The third blessing is what we're talking about right now. You said endurance. Same word, I use the word longevity. That's why we're here, longevity. When you do those three things, it's, I mean, look, guys, girls, ladies, no girls here, ladies. I'm 65 now. It's crazy. It's a huge blessing. I'm getting calls from people right now who were once 8 or 9-year-old little boys, little girls who went to the movie theater to see me back then. They grew up to be decision makers in Hollywood, and they're calling me because, in particular, Seth MacFarlane. That's how I was brought to the Ted franchise. He told me, when I was an 8-year-old boy, I saw your movie. It changed my life, and I knew I wanted to be a creative guy when I grow up. And so I'm getting these calls now. So it's huge.
Yeah. How did you mention getting cast for it? Was it
Sure.
something that you were already
For
looking
Ted or for Flash
for
Gordon?
Flash? Were you already looking for a role like that?
No.
Because act wasn't really in your.
Listen, I want to explain something now. It's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up. I want to tell you, he just brought something interesting. Was I looking for a role? Let me tell you something. As an actor, we are looking for any role, okay? Now, if you're what we call on the A list, the Denzel Washingtons, the Tom Cruises, Gerard Butler, I'm a big fan of his as well. List goes on. Yeah, they don't, they get sit there and go, I don't want to do that anymore. Right now I'm looking to do this. Well, let me give you some statistics. I think I did this before. Only 3% of every actor or actress in the world, only 3% can pay their bills with movie money only, okay? What does that mean? What's the other side of that? 97% of every actor in the world cannot pay their bills unless they have a secondary income. Hello? There's your statistics. So, that's a blessing to get a job. It's, sometimes there's no rhyme or reason, it's just the way it is, but that's the way it is. So most actors that you look at, you may hear them on a talk show or doing this, and they'll say, I really had to think hard if I wanted to do that part that they were offering me. Don't lie. Come on, you got a movie offer because you needed the work, okay? And I use this example. I even explained to some young actors. One actor got a brand new, his first TV series. Okay, so they're going to pay him $1 million a year. That's good, right? Now remember, even let's say the series is #1 that year. Big deal, ratings, good. He made $1 million. Now, when you say you're going to do a series for a year, you're only working 4 to 6 months. That's it. So did he really make the $1 million? No. Okay. Here's $1 million check. IRS in America takes, is it
A third at least.
a third?
Yeah.
So now he's down to $700K, right? Now, for representation, he had to pay his agent, most likely a talent manager. Agent takes 10%, not of the net, of the gross. The manager takes 15% of the gross. So another 25% on $1 million is $250K. Okay, so $700K, take away $250K is?
Well, my Asian self says 500.
Okay.
So,
$450K, right? Wait a minute, where's $1 million? Okay, now you got $450,000. Sounds like a lot of money for 6 months' work. Well, now, with that $450K, did he go out and buy the Ferrari? Or did he get a Prius? Or did he maintain his apartment? Or did he buy the $1 million house? Whoa, let me tell you something, guys. It happened to me twice. It happened to thousands and tens of thousands. If he didn't just keep the apartment, or get a little tiny condo, or if he didn't just get the Prius, if he bought bought the Ferrari and got the $1 million house. If the phone doesn't ring within the next 6 months, he's bankrupt. It's just that simple, okay? If the phone doesn't ring for another job, he's bankrupt. That happened to me 2 or 3 times. Made the millions. That wasn't putting it together. Take the money. Live below your standard of living, right? But any job, movie business, anything. Because we don't know. That's why I call it a blessing when you get the job. That's why at the age of 50, it's in my documentary I talk about. At the age of 50, my wife was very encouraging. I think I told you this, right? She saw me waiting by the telephone 15 years ago when I was 50. And, waiting to get a movie job. And she said, honey, you're talented, but the phone's not ringing. So at that time we had 2 kids in diapers, 1 just out of diapers. She said, we have a young family, the phone's not ringing right now. There's the door, come back when you're providing for this family. And thank God she told me that. So I reconnected with some of my former military buddies. I tell people I've been an actor for 42 years. I've been a Marine for 47 years. So I reconnected and got trained up as a security professional where we protect high-level people traveling to high-risk environments around the world. So I became a high-end bodyguard from last 15 years. But let me tell you what happened after listening to my wife, guys. Guess what happened after I got trained up, all my certifications, and started working. 3 years later, the phone rang. 4 years later, it rang to start doing more movies. So now I'm in a position to run security operations or make movies. It's wonderful. So yeah, that's not my opinion. That's the facts of the movie business. Get a job, provision, everything.
So, I remember one of my favorite memories when I was a kid was, me and my buddies, we'd have big sleepover parties, and there was a few movies that we just popped in, and we just all knew we were captivated for a couple of hours.
Gotta do it.
And as soon as that Queen song hit, we were just for the next 2 hours, we're like playing along with the film, and a lot of great memories of that. At the time, I could only imagine, shooting that, and there's bird people on wires, and there's rolling the platform thing. I can only imagine that just shooting that film, you're like, what is, during it, were you just thinking, what in the world am I doing?
No, actually, I was 23 years old, Tony.
Yeah.
What does that mean? That means, at 20, you can do anything at 23, But it's a great point, because when I arrived on the set, to me it was a bit overwhelming. I don't know about you guys, but I always get 2 voices in my head. Usually the first voice is the voice of fear. Oh, Sam, this is bigger, this is too big. You don't really belong here. Look at the actors, these big actors from England. Look at Dino De Laurentiis, the producer. Oh my God, he's got the famous production designer who did all the Fellini movies. And what makes you think you could pull this off? That's that first voice of fear that we need to tell, shut up. And then usually the second voice of reason comes in and basically says, shut up. Wait a minute, hold it. That's not my job. That type of thinking is just a distraction. What is my focus here? My focus is, when I'm called to work, what is my task at hand? What do they want of me right now? Not about all the sets and all the famous people. Why do you think they tell athletes all the time? Any sport. When you get up to the plate, when you get on the field or on the ice, you just eliminate all the noise. And let me just, before I get off on a rabbit trail, I did a movie called Silent Natural. Last year, it's out now, coming out. About the first deaf Major League Baseball player in America, William Hoy. I played the father. Well, guess what? He held records, that we're talking the year 1885. He held Major League Baseball records as a deaf player, couldn't speak either, for 60 years. Why do you think he held those records? Nobody had to tell him to block everything out. Don't be distracted by the noise. William Hoy, unbelievable. That's what I had to do. That's what we all need to do. Eliminate the nonsense. Eliminate the noise and the distractions and the hindrances. But that's what I did. And once I started doing that, then that voice, that I started listening to the voice of reason. Some people say, oh, it's the voice of God. Yeah, I believe it's the voice of God saying, no, keep it practical, keep it common sense, okay? I've given you a gift. I've blessed you with this talent. Now just do what you're supposed to do. And don't think of all the other stuff that gets in the way. Anyway, that's how I sort of conducted my life from that point on, yeah.
Now, I can only imagine that at that time and still today that Hollywood has stacks of 6'4" blonde dudes that can audition for anything. And so how were you able to kind of beat everyone out to get this role?
Well, I never, it's funny you say that. Even in my, I guess my naivete, I mean, remember I came to Hollywood just a couple of years out of the Marine Corps. So I didn't come to Hollywood arrogant or prideful. I came to Hollywood confident. And I studied. I wasn't kidding myself. I knew I wasn't an Academy Award type actor, but I knew I could make that happen. I could pull it off. So when I did an audition and I walked into the room, I looked at all these other guys, 6'3", 6'4", like me, athletic, blonde hair, whatever. And I said to myself, oh, my competition, it's uncanny, it's weird. I just said, oh, if they want Sam Jones, they're going to get Sam Jones. If they want that guy over there, they're going to get that guy over there. I never looked at that. It's funny, because a buddy of mine is Kevin Sorbo, Hercules, a great guy, great golfer. Be careful when you play golf with him. But anyway, so years ago when they were casting the series, remember Hercules, right? This is was that the 80s? Yeah, I think the 80s, early 90s. I walked in and this is what I mean about, this is how I substantiate my feelings in that room with all the other actors, my honesty. So I'm in there waiting like you are, sitting down, and Kevin Sorbo, I didn't know Kevin Sorbo, but he walked in with the long hair. I just read the Hercules script, and Kevin walked in. I said, well, there's your Hercules. I mean, there he is. That's Hercules. I didn't say, oh my God. No, I said, if I'm hiring, that's the guy. And sure enough, he became Hercules. Not because I went in and messed up on my reading, and I told him that story, and he said, oh, that's hysterical, but yeah.
Anyone that we may have heard of that was also auditioning for Flash Gordon?
Well, they told me, Dino De Laurentiis, by the way, the producer of Flash Gordon, he has a funny, everything was about non-disclosure and confidentiality. I kid you not, Tony. It was about a 7-month process, auditioning, interviews. So we would be instructed to park at a parking lot. Enter through this door, right? Exit through another door when we're done. I had no idea until 2 years after the making of the movie that they told me Kurt Russell, Arnold, and a few others were up for this part. Because we never saw each other in the lobby. I didn't even get the script until 2 days before filming.
Holy moly.
Yeah, it was kind of, non-disclosure, confidentiality here.
Yeah, that's crazy. I got a few more questions, but if you have any questions, just sort of...
Come on, fire away.
You want to go? Go ahead.
So I heard you earlier, you were talking to the co-founder of Funko about making new Pops, Flash Gordon.
Yeah,
Pops.
we're having our big reunion tour next year. So yeah, because they've retired the Flash Gordon Funko series. Myself, Brian Blessed, Voltan, Clytus, and then who's missing? So it's me, it's Voltan.
Dale?
No, they didn't do Dale.
Really?
It's, well, that's four. Wait a minute. Clytus, me, Brian. Who's missing?
Timothy
Oh, no, Ming the Merciless. Max. So hopefully they'll do it for the 40th anniversary.
And
Bring them out of retirement.
And are you reaching out to other places to make more merchandise related to the movie, like Hot Topic, like
Actually,
hoodies?
they're already doing it. They've actually reached out to us. Yeah, months ago. They're doing the 40th anniversary Flash Gordon action figures. Yeah. One's a super high end, I mean a lot of money. And the other one is a normal action figure. Yeah.
Yeah, I read a few days ago that for the 40th anniversary, they're giving the movie a 4K upgrade
Yes.
and maybe a theatrical release. Do you know, are they producing any new content, like a commentary track, anything that you may be involved in for the release?
That'd be kind of cool, but I'm working with King Features right now. They own the licensing rights to Flash Gordon. They're on board for our tour, primarily due to their clients who are producing the action figures. But this has been mentioned numerous times about whatever city we're coming to, that we'll do the 4K screening. And again, I apologize about my voice, guys. Saudi Arabia, and it was a long haul, and I lost it completely. So I'm getting it back now a little bit better.
Is Flash on a, I'm sure you can download it on iTunes, but is it live on a current streaming service somewhere that we're aware of? Like, is it on a streaming platform? Does anyone know?
Streaming, well, it sounds like it'd be, yes. Is it on Amazon? I look at Netflix and Amazon all the time. Good. I'm just seeing a lot of it is just kind of strange. But my point is, so by the time I find something after 20 minutes, I just want to watch it. But my point is, now I started watching Amazon Prime. And so I said, okay, let me just go see if they got my documentary, and they have my documentary, Life After Flash. And all of a sudden I just pushed the wrong button and I went below it. And I'm clicking and I was, oh my gosh, it's got 30 of my movies right there. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I never knew. How many people knew that? If you see one movie on a certain actor, you click.
You all suggestions.
It gives you all that they have his other movies. They have 30 of my movies right there. I said, oh my gosh. And the significance of that for me is I've done 65 movies, right? Big deal. I've only seen half. Why? Why? Over the years, it's okay. Do I grab the kids and say, let's sit down and watch me? Or do I take my daughter to dance or my son to baseball? So that's what I decided to do. So some of the fans found that out, that half the movies, so they started sending me DVDs. But actually I can see them on Amazon Prime right now. It's kind of, maybe something I don't want to see, but it's...
Apart from Flash, was there a particular favorite role that you'd like to revisit?
Yes, well, my favorite project is probably The Highwayman. Come on, guys, come on, man. For guys who like, and for me it was, look, I dressed like a road warrior, right? Mad Max. I had a sawed-off shotgun strapped to my leg. I had a federal badge to do what I wanted. And I drove an 18-wheeler. And we filmed in the great outdoors of Arizona for 6 months. I mean, what else would a guy? No, I mean, that's what you want to do. And yeah, I loved it. That was a Glenn Larson series for Fox and NBC. And 5 years ago, Glenn called me back in and said, we're bringing back The Highwayman. You're The Highwayman. We had 3 meetings, and you remember You would remember Glenn because he did, I think he had 5 shows on the air at the same time. Highwayman, small show called Magnum PI. Another small show, Knight Rider. Battlestar Galactica, BJ and the Bear. Well, our 4th meeting, shortly thereafter, he passed away. So now, I'm talking to the family now about the rights. So yeah, that is what I want to bring back. And it was always, yeah, he had an edge to him, but it's the same old thing, that the good stuff, good was good, bad was bad. When innocence is being abused, you call the highwayman. He comes in with no apologies, and he neutralizes, that's a good word, he neutralizes the evil in the world. So that's what we need more of.
Well, in this era of everything being rebooted, everything remade and prequelized and everything else, surely there's been some talk or chatter about, Flash Gordon potentially.
Yeah.
And
I got an update for you.
yeah.
So Fox had it, when we have a vernacular, we have a terminology in the business. When somebody says, oh yeah, my project is in development. What that normally means is you don't have the money, okay? Yeah. But the oddest things happen with Flash Gordon. Every time a producer bought the screenplay rights to do a sequel, they were always huge, reputable names. Stephen Summers, right? Van Helsing, all those movies. He didn't pick up the option. Neil Moritz, half the Fast and Furious, right? Mm-hmm. Fox Studios, they called me in 4 years ago, said that we bought the rights. We're interested in, bringing you in. Great. They brought in some huge names attached. Matthew Vaughn, guys, come on. He directed Kingsman, Kick-Ass. The list goes on and on. John Davis is attached. So that's 4.5 years ago. Well, Disney there's Sam was here for Sam. Come on.
Oh, God.
He's got a question. So
He's here for you, I think.
yeah. So Disney bought the screenplay right. Disney bought Fox a couple of months ago. So guess what Fox is doing, Tony? Guess what Disney's doing? They're doing an animated version of Flash Gordon.
Wow.
So I called a buddy of mine who said he has the financing. He asked me, so I talked directly to the president of King Features, who own the licensing rights, and she said, no, it's frozen. When the rights are frozen, that means you can't buy the rights to do it. So, but there's other ways you can do that. You can go to the people, for instance, who are doing the animated version right now, not the live action, and you can say, hey, how much you need for the live action rights while you're doing the animated version. So anyway, but look, I've learned in my 42 years in the film business, it seems like every time I try to go after something, with almost a desperation, it never really happened. It never happened. But when it came to me, okay, it happened. So, but I hope one day to do obviously the live action version of Flash Gordon, whether I acquire the rights or whatever. But yeah, it's a great business, guys. Don't get me wrong, but I tell everybody, if you want to go to the movie business, it's all about provision and paying your bills. So make sure you have a second job, a second vocation. Other than that, life is great. The wife is happy. The kids are happy. The grandkids are happy. Wizard World Sam is happy. Are you happy, Tony?
I'm happy.
He's happy.
We have.
Are you happy? Is that Dana back there? Who is that? Oh, Monty. Okay. She's happy. Are you guys happy?
Yeah.
All right.
We probably have one last question before Sam has to go. Is there anyone else who's got one more question for us?
It doesn't matter, it won't be, you know, there's no such thing as a bad question. If there is, I'll let you know. Oh, that's a bad question.
Is there a, as you know, I can't believe it's already the end of 2019. It feels like we already living in the future. For 2020, what are you looking forward to? Like, what's any?
It's the 40th anniversary
Oh, yeah, of
reunion
course.
tour.
Yeah,
It's huge.
absolutely.
And I, you know, without sounding, well, you know where this is going, but the significance of this 40th anniversary is half the cast most likely won't be around in 10 years for the 50th anniversary. So, you know, Max is 90, Brian is 84, Topol is in his 80s. I mean, Melody's in her 60s. I'm 65. Ornella's 60s. Who else? And Timothy is still, I think he's somewhere around my age. So yeah, this is significant next year. It really is.
Well, we can't wait to celebrate with you, and we hope that we'll be able to be in a city where you're all together to be able
Come
to
on.
party together. So,
Party together. Party like the 80s, man. Ooh, wow, that voice is scary.
Teach us, Sam.
What happened?
No, teach us how to party in the
Oh,
80s.
yeah, teach us like a party. Oh, yeah, watch that, yeah.
hey Barry, let's give Sam a hand. Thank you
Come
for
on,
joining
man.
us.
And for Tony.
Hope your voice feels better.
Yeah, I think it's getting better. Actually, it's better without the microphone. All right, guys.